The room fell silent as 16-year-old Maya stared at her stepmother Evelyn, her heart pounding. "I won't change my last name," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. Evelyn's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a cold smile. She thought she could pressure Maya into erasing her identity to fit her perfect family image. But she had no idea she was about to unleash a storm of courage that would change their small town forever. Why was Maya so determined to keep her last name, and what hidden pain was about to be exposed? Dear viewer, don't miss this powerful story of identity, resilience, and justice. If you're watching, please write in the comments where you're from right now, hit that subscribe button, and press the bell icon so you never miss our daily stories. Thank you, and let's dive into Maya's journey. It was a humid Tuesday evening in Willow Creek, a quiet town where everyone knew each other's business. Maya Carter hurried home from the library, her backpack slung over one shoulder, her sketchbook clutched tightly against her chest. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the cracked sidewalks. Maya's steps quickened as she approached the two-story house she'd called home since her father, James, married Evelyn 3 years ago. "You're late again, Maya," Evelyn's voice greeted her as she stepped through the door, sharp and laced with disapproval. Evelyn stood in the kitchen, her arms crossed, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun. "Dinner was ready an hour ago." "I'm sorry," Maya mumbled, her eyes darting to the floor. "I was at the library, working on a project." Evelyn's eyebrows shot up, her face flushing with irritation. "A project? You're always at that library, hiding away with your little drawings. This family has expectations, Maya. You can't just do whatever you want." Maya's fingers tightened around her sketchbook, the one place where she could pour out her thoughts and dreams. "It's not just drawings," she said softly, but Evelyn waved her off. "Enough. Sit down. We need to talk about something important." Maya hesitated, her stomach twisting. She glanced at her father, who sat quietly at the dining table, his eyes fixed on his plate. James Carter was a kind man, but he always struggled to stand up to Evelyn's forceful personality. Maya's younger half-brother, Ethan, only 6 years old, peeked at her from behind his plate of mashed potatoes, his wide eyes full of curiosity. "What's this about?" Maya asked, taking a seat across from Evelyn. Evelyn leaned forward, her smile tight and calculated. "It's time we became a real family, Maya. One unit, one name. I've decided it's best for you to change your last name to Thompson, like mine and Ethan's." Maya's breath caught in her throat. Her last name, Carter, was the only piece of her mother, Leela, she had left. Leela had passed away when Maya was 8, leaving behind memories of warm hugs, bedtime stories, and a love for art that Maya carried in her heart. "I can't do that," Maya said, her voice trembling but resolute. Evelyn's smile faltered, replaced by a flash of anger. "Can't? This isn't a request, Maya. It's for the sake of family unity. You're part of this household now, and Carter doesn't belong here." Maya's eyes flickered to her father, hoping for support, but James avoided her gaze, his fork scraping against his plate. "Dad," she whispered. He cleared his throat but said nothing. Evelyn pressed on, her voice rising. "Your mother's gone, Maya. Clinging to her name won't change that. It's time to move forward." The words hit Maya like a punch, and her hands shook as she gripped the edge of the table. "My last name is who I am," she said, her voice growing stronger. "It's my connection to Mom. You can't take that away." Evelyn slammed her hand on the table, making Ethan flinch. "You will do as I say, young lady. I've already spoken to a lawyer. The paperwork is ready." Maya stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "I won't sign anything," she declared, then turned and ran upstairs, her heart racing. As she closed her bedroom door, Maya sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. Her room was a sanctuary, its walls covered with sketches of her mother's favorite places: the willow tree by the creek, the town's old library, the starry sky they used to watch together. Each drawing was signed, Maya Carter, quiet rebellion against Evelyn's attempts to erase her past. But how could she stand up to Evelyn, who seemed to control everything in their home? Maya pulled out her sketchbook and began to draw, her pencil moving furiously across the page. She wasn't just fighting for her name, she was fighting for her identity, her mother's legacy, and her right to be seen. Dear viewer, have you ever had to stand up for something that defines who you are? Share your story in the comments below, and let's see how many of us have fought for our truth. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join our community of storytellers. The next morning, Maya sat in the school cafeteria, her untouched lunch tray in front of her. Her best friend, Aisha, slid into the seat across from her, her braids bouncing as she leaned forward. You look like you didn't sleep, Maya. What's going on? Maya sighed, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. It's Evelyn. She wants me to change my last name to hers. She says it's for family unity, but it feels like she's trying to erase my mom. Aisha's eyes widened. That's messed up. What did your dad say? Maya shook her head. Nothing. He never stands up to her. Aisha reached across the table, squeezing Maya's hand. You can't let her do this. Your last name is part of you. It's like your art. It's who you are. Maya managed a small smile. Aisha was right, her art was her voice, her way of keeping her mother's memory alive. But Evelyn's words from last night echoed in her mind. The paperwork is ready. Could she really fight this? As if reading her thoughts, Aisha pulled out her phone. We need backup. Let's talk to Miss Rivera. She's the art teacher, and she's always got your back. Miss Rivera's classroom was a haven of color and creativity, its walls lined with student artwork. When Maya and Aisha arrived during lunch, Miss Rivera was organizing paint supplies, her curly hair tied back with a bright scarf. Maya, Aisha, what's up? She asked, her warm smile fading as she noticed Maya's expression. Maya hesitated, then poured out the story, Evelyn's demand, her father's silence, and her fear of losing her last name. Miss Rivera listened intently, her eyes narrowing when Maya mentioned the lawyer. This isn't just about a name, Maya, she said softly. It's about your identity, your heritage. Have you told Evelyn how much this means to you? I tried, Maya said, her voice cracking. She doesn't listen. She thinks I'm just being stubborn. Miss Rivera leaned back, thoughtful. Sometimes, people like Evelyn need to see the bigger picture. Have you thought about showing her who you are through your art? You're one of the most talented students I've ever taught. Your sketches tell stories. Maybe they can tell this one. Maya blinked, the idea sparking something inside her. You mean, like, a project? Miss Rivera nodded. Exactly. The town art fair is next month. You could create something that shows why your last name matters. Make it impossible for her to ignore. That night, Maya sat at her desk, her sketchbook open to a blank page. She thought about her mother, Leela Carter, who had been an artist herself, teaching Maya to see beauty in the world's smallest details. Leela's maiden name, Carter, had been a source of pride, a link to her family's history of resilience. When Leela married James, she kept her last name, passing it on to Maya as a gift. It's our story, Leela used to say, and no one can take that from you. Maya's pencil began to move, sketching the outline of a tree, its roots stretching deep into the earth, each branch bearing the name, Carter. This would be her project for the art fair, a visual story of her identity. Over the next few weeks, Maya threw herself into her work. She spent hours in the library, researching her family history, uncovering stories of her great-grandparents, who had been among the first black families to settle in Willow Creek. She learned about her great-grandfather, a carpenter who built the town's first community center, and her great-grandmother, a teacher who fought for equal education. Their legacy was woven into the name Carter, and Maya's sketches began to reflect that pride. She drew portraits of her ancestors, their faces strong and determined, surrounded by symbols of their contributions, a hammer, a book, a tree. But at home, the tension with Evelyn grew. One evening, as Maya worked on her project, Evelyn stormed into her room, holding a stack of legal forms. I've had enough of your defiance, Maya, she snapped. You're signing these papers tonight, or you'll regret it. Maya's heart raced, but she stood her ground. I'm not signing anything, she said, her voice steady. This isn't about you, Evelyn. It's about me and my mom. Evelyn's face turned crimson. Your mother is gone, Maya. I'm your family now, and you will respect my authority. She slammed the forms on Maya's desk and stormed out, leaving Maya trembling but resolute. The next day, Maya confided in Aisha about the confrontation. "She's not going to stop," Maya said, her voice heavy with worry. "What if she forces me to sign?" Aisha's eyes lit up with determination. "Then we make sure everyone knows your story. The art fair isn't just for Evelyn, it's for the whole town. Let's make your project so powerful that she can't ignore it." Aisha's words gave Maya a surge of hope. She wasn't alone in this fight. With Aisha, Miss Rivera, and her own determination, she could stand firm. As the art fair approached, Maya's project took shape. A large canvas titled "The Roots of Carter." The painting depicted a towering tree, its roots anchored in the soil of Willow Creek, each branch adorned with sketches of her ancestors and their contributions. At the base of the tree, Maya painted herself, holding a sketchbook, her name, Maya Carter, written in bold letters. The canvas was both a tribute to her heritage and a declaration of her identity. Miss Rivera was stunned when she saw it. "Maya, this is extraordinary," she said. "It's not just art, it's a statement. Are you ready to share it with the world?" The night of the art fair, Willow Creek's community center was buzzing with activity. Stands lined the halls, displaying paintings, sculptures, and crafts from students and local artists. Maya's canvas stood at the center of Miss Rivera's booth, drawing curious glances from passersby. Maya stood beside it, her heart pounding, as Aisha handed out flyers explaining the project's meaning. "This is about more than a name," the flyer read. "It's about honoring our past and claiming our future." Maya scanned the crowd, her stomach twisting as she spotted Evelyn and her father approaching, Ethan trailing behind them. Evelyn's eyes locked onto the canvas, her expression unreadable. "What's this?" she asked, her voice tight. Maya took a deep breath, her voice steady despite her nerves. "It's my project, The Roots of Carter. It's about my family, my heritage, and why my last name matters." Evelyn's lips pressed into a thin line, but before she could respond, a small crowd gathered around the booth, drawn by the vibrant colors and Maya's confident presence. "This is incredible," an older woman said, reading the flyer. "Your great-grandfather built this community center, didn't he?" Maya nodded, her chest swelling with pride. "Yes, ma'am. His name was Samuel Carter." As more people joined the crowd, Maya began to explain her project, her voice growing stronger with each word. She told the story of her ancestors, their struggles, and their triumphs. She spoke of her mother, Leela, whose love for art had inspired her own, and she shared why her last name was more than just a word, it was a legacy she would never abandon. The crowd listened in rapt silence, some wiping away tears, others nodding in understanding. Even Ethan, clinging to Evelyn's hand, stared at the canvas with wide-eyed wonder. Evelyn's face remained impassive, but Maya noticed her father's eyes glistening with emotion. For the first time, he stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. "I'm proud of you, Maya," he said quietly. "I should have spoken up sooner." The words were simple, but they meant everything to Maya. She blinked back tears, nodding at her father. The crowd erupted into applause, and Miss Rivera stepped forward, her voice carrying over the noise. "Maya's work reminds us that every name carries a story, and every story deserves to be heard. Let's give her another round of applause." As the applause faded, a local reporter approached, her camera crew in tow. "Maya, I'm with the Willow Creek Gazette," she said. "Your project is causing quite a stir. Can you tell us more about what inspired it?" Maya hesitated, glancing at Evelyn, who stood frozen, her arms crossed. This was her moment to speak her truth. "My stepmother wanted me to change my last name," Maya said, her voice clear and steady. "She thought it would make us a real family, but my last name, Carter, is my connection to my mom and my ancestors. It's who I am. This project is my way of saying that no one can take that away from me." The reporter's eyes widened, and she scribbled furiously in her notebook. "That's powerful, Maya. Would you mind if we filmed your canvas for our evening news segment?" Maya nodded, her heart soaring. As the camera crew set up, Aisha squeezed her arm, whispering, "You did it, Maya. You showed everyone who you are." But Evelyn's silence was deafening. She turned abruptly and walked away, pulling Ethan with her. Maya's father stayed behind, his expression a mix of pride and regret. "I'll talk to her," he promised. This has gone too far. That night, Maya lay in bed, her mind racing. The art fair had been a triumph, but Evelyn's reaction left her uneasy. Would her stepmother double down on her demands, or would Maya's courage force her to reconsider? As she drifted to sleep, her phone buzzed with the text from Aisha. Check the Gazette's website. You're trending. Maya opened the link, her breath catching as she saw the headline. Teens' art project celebrates heritage, challenges family expectations. The article detailed her project, quoting her words about her last name and her mother's legacy. Comments poured in from strangers across Willow Creek and beyond, praising her courage and sharing their own stories of holding onto their identities. The next morning, Maya woke to find her father waiting in the kitchen, his expression serious. "We need to talk," he said, gesturing for her to sit. Evelyn saw the article. "She's upset, but she's agreed to meet with you and me tonight to discuss everything." Maya's heart sank. Another confrontation with Evelyn was the last thing she wanted, but she nodded. "Okay, Dad, but I'm not changing my mind." James reached across the table, squeezing her hand. "I know, and I'm sorry I didn't support you sooner. Your mom would be so proud of you, Maya." That evening, the three of them sat in the living room, the air thick with tension. Ethan was upstairs, leaving Maya, her father, and Evelyn to face each other. Evelyn's face was pale, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I saw your project, Maya," she began, her voice strained. "And the article. You made quite a spectacle." Maya bristled, but before she could respond, Evelyn continued. "I thought changing your last name would bring us close, make us a real family, but I see now that I was wrong to push you." Maya blinked, stunned. Was Evelyn actually apologizing? "I didn't understand how much your last name means to you," Evelyn admitted, her voice softer. "I thought you were just being difficult, but your project, it made me realize there's a whole history I didn't consider." "I'm sorry, Maya." The words were halting, but they were sincere. Maya's throat tightened, and she glanced at her father, who nodded encouragingly. "Thank you," Maya said quietly. "But it's not just about the name. It's about feeling like I belong here without having to change who I am." Evelyn nodded, her eyes glistening. "I want you to feel like you belong. I haven't been fair to you, and I want to do better. No more talk of changing your name. And I'd like to learn more about your mom, if you're willing to share." Maya's heart softened, though she remained cautious. "I'd like that," she said. "But it'll take time." Evelyn gave a small smile, the first genuine one Maya had ever seen from her. "I understand. We'll take it one step at a time." As the weeks passed, Maya noticed subtle changes in their home. Evelyn began asking about her sketches, even framing one of Maya's drawings to hang in the living room. James became more vocal, supporting Maya's passions and attending her art club meetings. Ethan, inspired by Maya's project, started drawing his own pictures, proudly signing them Ethan Thompson Carter, a playful nod to their blended family. Maya's canvas, The Roots of Carter, was displayed at the community center, where it inspired a new program to help students explore their family histories through art. The impact of Maya's courage rippled beyond her family. The Willow Creek School Board, moved by her story, launched an initiative called Every Name Matters, encouraging students to share their cultural and personal stories through creative projects. Miss Rivera was appointed to lead the program, and Maya became its first student ambassador, mentoring younger kids like Amara, a shy 7th grader who struggled to embrace her immigrant heritage. Maya's story spread online, with the Gazette's article going viral. Community members donated to a scholarship fund in Leela Carter's name, supporting young artists in Willow Creek. Maya was invited to speak at a regional youth conference, where she shared her journey and encouraged others to stand up for their identities. "Your name, your story, your heritage, they're yours to protect," she told the audience. "Don't let anyone make you feel small for who you are." The crowd gave her a standing ovation, and Maya felt her mother's presence in that moment, guiding her forward. 3 months later, Willow Creek had transformed. The community center hosted monthly heritage nights, where families shared food, music, and stories from their backgrounds. The school's art program flourished, with students creating projects that celebrated their unique identities. Maya, now a confident junior, continued to mentor others, her sketchbook filled with new drawings of hope and unity. She and Evelyn weren't best friends, but they were building a relationship based on mutual respect. "I'm glad you stood firm," Evelyn told her one evening, as they looked at a photo of Leela Maya had hung in the hallway. "It made me a better person." Dear friend, Maya's story reminds us that our identities are worth fighting for. When we stand up for who we are, we don't just change our own lives, we inspire others to embrace their truths. Because of Maya's courage, a town learned to celebrate every name, every story, and every heritage. Today, Maya mentors young artists, proving that one voice can spark a movement. Take a moment to share your own story of identity in the comments below. What makes you proud of who you are? Like, subscribe, and share this video to spread this message of resilience and unity. Better yet, reach out to a young person in your life and ask about their story. You might uncover a hidden spark that changes everything. Together, we can create a world where no one's light is dimmed by pressure or prejudice. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.